An amateur locksmith joins international criminals to perform an impossible heist, but he learns pretty soon that there's a price for everything. We'll find out what happens next in today's recap of Hollywood thriller, The Army of Thieves. Welcome back to Cinema Recap. Make sure to leave a like and also subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this one. Now, let's get on with the video. The film starts with amateur locksmith Sebastian, who's recording a video for his YouTube channel. He tells the story of a legendary locksmith named Wagner, who built 4 unbreakable safes. But even this great work didn't make Wagner happy, because his wife had died recently. So, he created one more safe and locked himself inside of it forever. After telling this story, Sebastian uploads the video and gets ready for his job. He works at a bank, and his job clearly doesn't excite him. One day, he notices that someone actually saw one of his videos. The viewer even left a comment and asked Sebastian to go to a strange address if he really wants to test his skills as a locksmith. Sebastian doesn't really have much to do, so he goes to the location that night. He's immediately taken into an arena where people are competing to open different safes. In the first part of the competition, Sebastian is the last one to be qualified. However, in the next round, he is just as good as the previous champion. And as the final round comes around, Sebastian can see the combination of the safe just by touching it. The champion, on the other hand, is struggling. Sebastian mocks him even more by opening the safe without using any tools. The crowd is overjoyed at his incredible victory, and while celebrating, Sebastian notices a woman who's smiling at him. The next day, he is buying coffee before going to work when the woman from last night confronts him. She tells him that she was the one who left the comment, and she wants to recruit him for a special job. Her name is Gwen, and she is a jewelry thief who's been on the Interpol Most Wanted list since she was 17. Now, she wants to crack the 4 legendary safes that Wagner created all those years ago. She explains that it's the perfect time since the world is focused on the zombie epidemic in Nevada. However, they only have 4 days to do the job since the safes will be decommissioned in 96 hours. Sebastian tells her that it's an impossible job and that he can't open those 4 safes in such a short time. Still, Gwen gives her address before leaving. That night, Sebastian can't stop thinking about Gwen's proposal, since it will be the most exciting thing he has ever done. He even has a dream about being eaten by a zombie girl, and he wakes up screaming. Just then, he notices the piece of paper that Gwen gave him, and the next day he's standing outside her house. Gwen is happy to see him, and she introduces him to Karina, who is a world-renowned hacker. They are also joined by Rolf, who will be their getaway driver. And finally, they have Brad, who provides the firepower for the crew. After this short introduction, Karina tells them the location of the Wagner safes. Unfortunately, they only know the location of 3 safes, and they plan to rob the easiest one first, which is in Paris. So they quickly get on their way, and after getting to Paris, Sebastian is freaking out, thinking that he might get caught. But Gwen tells him that it will be a piece of cake. They start the heist, and Sebastian quickly goes into the bank toilet. After that, Gwen steals the keys from a guard and goes to open a safety deposit box. While she's in there, Karina distracts the woman who is keeping an eye on Gwen. Gwen uses this opportunity to get inside the vault room with Sebastian, and there they find the first Wagner safe, which is known as the Rain Gold. They're both mesmerized by the craftsmanship of the safe, but they don't have much time, so Sebastian starts the safe cracking process. He uses his inhuman hearing to open all the locks one by one. Within a few minutes, the safe is open. They contain their excitement and grab as much cash as they can before getting out of that bank. The robbery went perfectly, and they didn't leave a trace behind. However, Interpol officer Delacroix recognizes Gwen from some CCTV camera footage. He has a personal vendetta with Gwen and Brad, so he plans to stop them before they can rob all the Wagner safes. That night, Gwen and her crew are drinking and having a good time, celebrating their success. This is when Karina tells Sebastian that Gwen has a complicated relationship with Brad. Sebastian likes Gwen, so he goes to talk to her, and they both start talking about their past. Sebastian always dreamed of becoming a hero called Ludwig, who can crack any safe. Gwen, on the other hand, just wanted to lash out at her ultra-rich parents, so she started hanging out with Brad, who was a criminal, and this is how she became a thief. But Gwen has a dream too, and she shows Sebastian a blueprint. It's the blueprint of the Gotterdammerung safe, and Gwen thinks that it's inside the quarantine zone in Nevada where the zombie apocalypse happened. She plans to crack it one day, and Sebastian shares her dream. The next day, they are in Prague. standing outside a bank where the second Wagner safe, the Valkyrie, is located. While they're getting ready for their heist, Delacroix and his team are also keeping an eye on the bank. This time, the security is tougher. Sebastian is nervous, but he still wants to crack the safe, so he gets going, and thanks to Karina's insane hacking skills, he manages to get inside the bank undetected. She's guiding him and Gwen towards the vault room, but this is when the security guards notice some strange footage on their CCTV cameras. Sebastian, on the other hand, meets Gwen in the elevator. He asks her why she's still dating Brad, who clearly doesn't deserve her. They're discussing this when the elevator door opens and they see 3 armed guards sitting in front of the safe. At this point, Gwen uses her combat skills to take down all 3 men without firing a single shot. After that, Sebastian starts the safe cracking process. Meanwhile, the Interpol team enters the bank to catch the thieves in the act. But Delacroix learns that he's actually at the wrong bank and the Valkyrie is in another branch. While he's driving to the correct branch, the guards close down their system after realizing that they have been hacked. At this point, Brad enters the building while holding a gun. He knocks out all the security guards by using his tranquilizer darts. Through all of this, Sebastian keeps trying to open the extremely intricate safe. He misses a combination and quickly realizes his mistake, but it's too late. He now only has one chance to open the safe, or it will lock down forever. The pressure is mounting, and with everyone trying to stop them, Sebastian manages to pull off the impossible and opens the safe, revealing piles of cash behind its door. Gwen is even more ecstatic than him, and they nearly kiss each other. But Karina tells him to hurry up and leave before the police arrive, because the alarm just went off. So they grab some cash and leave the vault room. Brad also tries to leave, but an old guard confronts him. He tries to take down the guard, but gets shot in the shoulder while trying to escape. He gets in his van and they start driving away as Sebastian and Gwen run out of the bank. Brad grabs Gwen's hand and pulls her in, but when Sebastian tries to get in, Brad just pushes him back onto the street before driving away. Sebastian is now on his own and the police are after him. He starts running to get away from the cops, and after a couple of attempts, he manages to steal a bicycle. He rides through the narrow streets of Prague as dozens of policemen chase him. Around this time, Delacroix gets to the right bank, but he is mad to see that the heist has already been completed. However, for Sebastian, the job isn't done yet. He has to get away, so he goes through some stairwells to evade all the cops. He gets to the railway tracks and there he sees a train. He ditches his bicycle and starts running after the train, and somehow gets on it. Meanwhile, Gwen is angry at Brad for what he did to Sebastian. She wants to leave the crew since Brad only wants money, while she wants to crack the safes. He tries to stop her, but she jumps out of the van and starts walking away. Karina also joins her since she is fed up with Brad's hysterical behavior, and she wants to complete the heist. Back in Germany, Sebastian gets into his apartment, where the girls are already sitting at the table. He freaks out after seeing them, and he's mad at Gwen, so he wants them both out of his house. This is when Gwen tells him that she never planned to betray him. She tells him that he is vital to her mission. After hearing this, Sebastian decides to join Gwen once again. That night, Delacroix finds Sebastian's YouTube channel and realizes that Sebastian isn't a hardcore criminal. The next day, the Interpol is waiting outside the casino where the third Wagner safe, the Siegfried, is situated. The safe will be moved out of the casino in 8 hours, and Delacroix hopes to catch the thieves as they try to steal it. He captures a radio conversation and learns that the heist will take place at 5 a.m., so when the time comes, his team storms the building. But unfortunately, the safe has already been moved. Delacroix is shocked to learn that Sebastian and his crew managed to remove the safe by impersonating Interpol agents. Gwen overtook the truck that was supposed to move the safe, and while the safe was being removed from the building, Karina knocked out Delacroix's snipers so that he stays in the dark about the whole thing. Now, Gwen and Sebastian are driving away with the Siegfried. This safe is a lot harder since it has nearly 72 trillion combinations, and Sebastian has to open it while the truck is moving around. Meanwhile, at the casino, Brad and Rolf learn what Gwen did, and they try to catch her by using the GPS on her phone. Karina tries to stop them, but gets caught by the Interpol team. Delacroix is being rough with her, but his assistant tells Karina that if she gives them any information, her younger brother will actually be treated well by the authorities. So Karina gives up where the safe is going. Back on the road, Sebastian carefully opens the locks one by one. even though he's getting thrown around inside the truck. When he finally cracks the safe open, they can't believe what they have just achieved. They fill up the bags, but when they get out, Brad's there holding a gun. However, his gun doesn't have a firing pin, while Gwen has a gun that actually works, so she ties them up to the truck before driving away with Sebastian. Pretty soon, Delacroix gets to the truck, and there he finds Brad. He finally has some redemption, but he's still looking for Gwen. Gwen, on the other hand, gets to a small boathouse, but when she tries to leave the car, Sebastian stops her. He tells her that he really likes her, and Gwen gives him a kiss before telling him that she likes him as well. They both happily walk towards the dock, but Delacroix gets there and he has a gun on them. This leads to a standoff between Delacroix and Gwen. Gwen knows she can't escape the police, so she makes a deal with Delacroix. She promises to turn herself in if Delacroix lets Sebastian go. Sebastian doesn't want to leave, but Gwen tells him to find the last safe and crack it for her, and Sebastian promises to do so. A few months later, a man is looking for a locksmith to open a safe in Nevada. He eventually comes across Sebastian, and Sebastian realizes that the man wants to crack the Goddardammerung. And just like that, his next adventure begins.